Welcome to a galaxy far, far away. Here at the Cantina Podcast, we provide top shelf service, including rumors, leaks, news, and reviews. Come in, order a Loman Ale, and remember, no droids allowed. And hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cantina here on the GenreVerse Podcast Network, wherever you get your podcast from, and the GenreVerse YouTube channel. Please do follow, like, share, subscribe, all the fun little buttons you're supposed to push or click on all of the formats. Part of the big LRMonline.com family. Go there every day for all entertainment news, needs, and opinions. I'm Kyle, that's Cam, and we are here to discuss Andor episode 4, as my son is laughing like a maniac in the background. Yeah, he is. Episode 4, man. This episode delivered exactly what I expected, and like I had mentioned last week, I was kind of curious as to how I would settle in to this side of Star Wars, this way of doing things, and I think I'm settled in. Actually, I quite enjoyed it. No action, all drama.
Yep.
I do have one technical complaint, and it's one that happened. Many people had issues with going back to the trailer, and that is the AK-47 blaster. I think that's one of the laziest, most awful choices they made, because it's not just in one scene, in one establishing shot, and it's not just one. There's multiple, and it's just
I agree 100% on that. It's just, wouldn't have taken much work for the art department just to add some stuff to that to make it look slightly different.
Borrow stuff you've already had and just either add an attachment or break something off. Ta-da, new weapon.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally all it needs, but it's too, like, as I said in my review of it, unless they're trying to say that Kalashnikov designed the perfect rifle in the universe, you know what I mean? And that's why everybody else has come up with the same thing.
I'll say this: it's one of the it's like the only good thing to ever come out of socialism and communism. So hey, so other than that, this, again, it wasn't some like home run. Wow, I'm amazed. I've never seen anything like this before. It was solidly good, and I kind of feel myself giving it again, I think about that A-. As a matter of fact, this might be an A- in episode 3, the previous one. Nah, I'll keep it at A-. I like the action stuff, so yeah, two A- in a row.
I'm A on this one, because that was kind of like my only two criticisms were the AK-47 and the fact that I only got to watch one episode, because I kind of what I mean by that is I kind of really enjoyed the first one being in that 3-episode chunk. You felt like it was a natural break to take that week into this week, whereas when I finished watching it this week, I'm like, is that it? I want more. I want to see where we go next. It just didn't feel satisfying in some ways, but I can't criticize it for the release schedule in some ways. It's when I'm grading the episode, so that's why I went A. So like you said, it just does everything you expect. There's nothing wow or exciting, but kind of that is what makes it different.
Yeah,
if that makes sense, and it's continuing 100%. The tonal sort of the tonal shifts, within the story itself are consistent, and I'm glad to see that that's going to remain. It is going to be that little bit darker. It is going to be that little bit grittier. So we had a change of some characters around, and we got to introduce to some new characters, and there's some people that we spent more time with. Guess what? One of them was Cassian Andor. Funny that. Since it's his show. But obviously talk about the rest when we get into spoilers a little bit more, which we'll do after we give you a warning. But the quality of that. Remember last week I was talking about how the supporting cast were all really, really good, and the performances were really good, and they sold it. That was again there with the new people that were brought in. There was people in very minor roles, some that might become larger as it goes forward, and everybody was just really, really good. And again, they went to the well of British TV veterans, which is just a good standard, quite frankly, of actor that maybe aren't that well known to a lot of people in America. Although the one guy that would have been very recognisable to some people, or there was two people that might have been quite recognisable because they were both previously in Game of Thrones. And
Christine recognized one.
Well. Which one?
The female.
Guy? Oh, the female. Yes,
with the
Rebel female
group.
Was her name in Game of Thrones was all we know was the Waif. She didn't have a name. She was like an assassin. So she was an odd character, but she was really
the one
really
with
good.
The faces. Was she that?
Yes. Yes. That was the whole Arya faces thing that was going on at the time. Okay. Correct. Yeah. And it was Arya.
I vaguely remember because I was the one that said it. Christine was like, she looks familiar. I think I've seen her in something before. I was like, what? Like a Game of Thrones or something? I guess it was in the back of my mind because I didn't watch all of it
right away. And
but I didn't watch the whole series. I watched chunks with Christine, and the only season I actually saw all the way through was season 5. But anyway, sorry, I sidetracked us.
Amazing, because one of my favourite episodes was in season 5 as well. Hard Home.
What happened in that one?
The big zombie attack.
Oh yeah, that was intense, man. I mean, that's kind of why I watched it. I had enough knowledge from bits and pieces from Christine because it wasn't a bad show. It's just not my cup of tea. But we got to get back on Star Wars.
We do get back on Star Wars. But the other guy that was also from Game of Thrones was he played a character called Qyburn. I forget his name in Andor, but it was the most senior Imperial that we meet in the show. So he was in Game of Thrones as well. But again, just quality veteran actor that's been in so many things, and just the set design, the background characters that we've got, it just feels like a lived in real world that we're following people in that are not on that kind of galactic scale. This isn't about Palpatine, Vader, Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is about the people that weren't as celebrated, didn't get movies made about them, do you know what I mean? But have the same impact as everyone. Well, maybe not the same impact themselves, but what happens has an impact on them the same as it does everyone else in the galaxy, and people play their part. It's like it's almost like Bothan spy, or if it was just one guy called Manny Bothans, which I've always liked that theory. Just this one guy who was a hero. I want to see that Disney Plus series, Manny Bothan. Anyway, I'll move on. So we've given our grades. We've both said we're really, really happy, and we've given some kind of vague stuff. So will we just give the spoiler call and get any specifics? I think.
Let's start talking. Let's start talking Andor and the Rebels. Spoiler warning, everyone. There you go. I like the whole idea that there's so much compartmentalization amongst these early rebel groups, and I mean, there's been rebellion going on for a bit by now, but it's starting to coalesce into the more organized alliance.
Where we are now compared to where we are even in Rogue One, which is 5 years later.
5 years later.
There's the big difference.
Yeah, so I like that there's this compartmentalization showing the paranoia amongst the different groups, and there's Skarsgård's character not even willing to tell the truth to some that he is working for, and then the female rebel there not wanting to tell the whole truth to her own group.
Yeah, Vale, her name was.
Yeah, the amount of paranoia and distrust, but desperate need to trust enough is on display, and it creates a really tense situation. It feels scary,
This is how insurgent group that are trying to, this is how they would work. and as much as we understand it, our real life scenario, but it's put in a Star Wars environment. So it's how would you work with the technology at their disposal, And I love the kind of, even though you've yet to see whether it works, the kind of simplicity of the plan that they're doing for this heist, which is they're using a natural event to basically disguise their escape, or else they wouldn't be able to pull this off. It's a kind of once in every few years or whatever.
3 years, they said.
Chance to kind of pull this off, and that's why they need to make it work. I don't think it's going to go down as they want it
not
to.
Not as smooth as they want it to.
Drama's drama, but but I genuinely don't know what's going to happen. I mean, they do such a good job with the paranoia. Can you say for certain that entire team, there's none of them are really double agents or something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't, could you?
I mean,
really,
there
the only one you
seems
can
to be
for Cassian.
Yeah, there seems to be trust amongst individuals in the group.
Or honor amongst thieves.
But that type of thing. And it's like, I trust Steve well enough to be here with Steve. But I don't trust all the people Steve is saying he trusts. I'm only trusting Steve. It's one of those types of situations, and everyone's like that, and they kind of have to be, because the Empire's a scary thing.
I think that was what this episode was about. It was the paranoia, because we see it from all different sides. I mean, maybe not so much the Imperial side, but we see how attentive they are to detail in terms of tracking shit down and how on top of things they are, because we've often painted the Empire as bumbling clowns in Star Wars. Just look at The Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, bumbling Imperials. Compare that to Empire Strikes Back or A New Hope Imperials, and you think they don't seem as comical. They seem more switched on, and and not just. And then you get, again, I got that feeling from Krennic and those around him in Rogue One, and that's kind of what I buzzing about, what the feeling I'm getting from this as well. So I'm really happy to see the Imperials. And as something I've been saying for a long time, let's see more from the bad guys' point of view.
Yes, absolutely. I'm down with it. And they're actually kind of the next part to discuss is the Imperials. Hold on, I'm writing down the timestamp. Meeting the Imperials and seeing their version of paranoia, which of course is positioning.
Yes,
the whole episode
is
discussing positioning one's self into authority, whether that's to rise in the levels or to become a master of your trade. You've got aspirational Imperials, you've got territorial Imperials, you have the bureaucratic Imperial, who's kind of like the old corporate security senior officer, where he's like, I can see the big picture, I've got my finger on this. But at the same time, you can also see his own arrogance and thinking that his finger's on the pulse of everything going on, that he ignores, the female officers. Hey, I'm on to something here. Yeah. And he's like, the other guy's got more experience, so I'm gonna side with this. And if you find anything of note, let me know.
I mean, you make a really good point that I was saying the paranoid, and then almost saying like that wasn't there in the Imperial side, that was more looking at it from their point of view. But you're absolutely right, because the paranoia is there, because we see everybody feels insecure when he's doing that round table thing, and he's going through everybody, and basically it's not like you don't feel that that's a manager and you're in a comfortable environment where you can say, well, look, we've had some problems in our team, as you know, boss.
I'll tell you now.
There's a fear there.
I've been in that exact meeting. Yeah, that's very. They got something. Breaking Geek brought up, and I forgot to bring it up between you and I. Is a lot of the military stuff, a lot of the combat oriented things, the guerrilla tactics. A lot of this is pretty authentic. We're Jonesy and I were both, Jonesy also served in the Army, JAG officer, so he kind of served in the, no, I'm joking. We were discussing that. But here, that type of meeting, that is a brigade commander briefing a bunch of battalion staff officers. Like that I've sat in that meeting before, and that's exactly what it's like. And bravo.
See, whereas I would
bravo to them.
If somebody talked to me like that in a meeting, because I work in the civilian life, I'd be like, I'd just got up and walk out. You're not talking to me like that in the middle of meetings for the people. I'd have them up at HR.
Yeah. No.
In the military life, I understand.
It is, but you know what? It breeds some of the best leaders. I'm not saying that you should treat civilians, because you got to be in a certain mindset to be able to be in a situation like that, right? So, and that's part of what basic training is for. Basic combat training also is basic military training, getting you not brainwashing. It's getting you into the mindset of what it takes to be a well-disciplined, well-oiled machine, so that when we say go to war, you're able to go to war. Because civilians, I'm sorry, you cannot understand what it takes to go to war. You need that conditioning from basic training, the camaraderie that comes with it, all of that. Anyways, we're getting off track. They're doing a really good job of being realistic here. It's neat. I like it.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's and it gives that there's a weightiness to what we're seeing, I think. And that helps with that. We're not here criticizing like, when that speeder showed up at close range, people would be flying about. Like think of the things that we criticized about Obi-Wan, at times. And that's all the things that Andor's getting right for me at this moment in time.
I agree.
And in regards to the Imperials, as I already said, really kind of was hoping to see more of them. And it's almost like they took over the role of the kind of corporate security guys. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like we've moved a level up. But I just love the stark contrasts visually as well, with the white, austere, stereo, to where the rebels are just in a camp making shit on a stove and all that. And that kind of really cements that. The little guy versus the big guy, which is a big part of this era in Star Wars. That's what it's about ultimately.
I do like the dressing down that the corporate security group got, and the old man trying to throw his own subordinates under the bus by being like, I didn't have anything to do with it. And he's like, exactly, that's the freaking problem. And it's like, dude, you were so comfortable in your own top seat that you forgot there's a seat higher than yours. Like, you still have to report to someone else.
A bit of defense though, he anticipated this would happen and told the guy specifically not to do it. So if I was him, I'd be raging at that other guy like, dude, I told you not to bother with this.
But he also, regardless, they're going to look at, when the first inklings of one of your ships, resources being diverted, when you saw personnel being diverted to study things related to this thing you told him to drop, you had chances to stop him, and you didn't. You didn't catch on. So absolutely, it's your fault too, boss man. That's the way I would even look at it, even from the outside. Like, but
well, he had to go away. Yeah, he was called away to an official thing.
It doesn't matter. He's in charge, and whenever you're in charge,
that's just stupid. That's like, if I'm the president of the United States and I get asked to a dinner and nuclear war breaks out, and do you know what? No one tells me. And then they blame me. Well, you were in charge. You should have known.
Well, so here's the thing.
I need someone to tell me.
Here's the answer to that question. Your subordinate that takes over when you're off site is supposed to have been well trained to know what is important for him to call you. No, I'm telling you, that's it's exactly.
Which in this case is the guy who went on his own. He seems to be like second in charge at this.
So
point.
there you go. I mean, it the point being, Cam, is they're getting it realistic, and I liked it. What do you think is going through the guy's mind? The deputy inspector there in the turbo lift. Is it, man, I'm gonna get that Andor, or oh my god, I'm gonna these Imperial assholes? Like, what do you think's going through his mind there?
I don't know. I mean, someone like that, you kind of think would gravitate towards the Empire, would seek out, the we should be that efficient, make it right to you, and I'm going to be part of this brutal efficiency because that's the way that it needs to be. And he would fit right in with the Empire, being as anal as he is and such a prick. Yeah. But he's also shown that he's got poor judgment,
to say the least.
He's got poor social skills. He's not a natural leader in any way. So he's got all this going against him as well. So I don't know. I mean, again, like some of the people we saw last week, I couldn't say to you for certain we see him again. Because that might have just been that one shot was just the end. That's like, yeah, his career's in the toilet. He's going to live with his mommy. He's not got a job.
That was funny.
Shit
mommy?
Yeah.
That was funny.
But, I don't know. So that's the thing. I'm kind of completely left guessing at the moment. And potentially, that's a good place to be at this point in the series where, like we kind of know Cassian's arc a little bit. But we don't really know the arcs of anyone else, and they could go a number of different ways. And that's kind of a good place to be at this point in an opening season. They're interesting without us knowing why they're interesting yet.
Yeah. With that, man, last thing to touch on, Mon Mothma. We finally get to meet her, get to see Coruscant, which I was mostly impressed with, although the CGI for her speeder, awful. Reflective surfaces, I know they're hard to do, so maybe don't do them. It was rough CGI, but anyways, other than that, I felt her introduction was fine. I was familiar with her kind of like pacing for the character from the little bits that we got in Rogue One, and didn't we just see her in something else?
Mon Mothma?
No, I guess it was just this. I'm thinking of like trailers and stuff like that. Sorry. Anyways, so it's fine. What I really liked more though is the show that Skarsgård puts on, like there on Coruscant.
When he's being the art dealer,
high-end aristocratic type art dealer. Like, I found that so interesting. She plays straightforward, does the little, I'm looking for a gift for my husband. But hers is a completely different type of drama. You start seeing that there's a rift in her marriage, even where the husband might not be,
he doesn't seem to know
politically active at all. He's rubbing elbows with Imperials because, hey, they're just happen to be the ones in charge.
Yeah, you're a senator. You're in the system, so
So it's an interesting.
Clearly not being completely open and honest with him as in terms of what our true values are.
Yep, it's an interesting element to the show. I'm still more interested in the Skarsgård character, but what do you think of Mon Mothma?
I mean, I thought those two were the best things in this episode, either on their own or in the interactions with each other. I thought they were just fantastic. The acting performances that's going on there. Those two stood out to me. I thought Genevieve O'Reilly was great, and I kind of wish we'd saw more of her in other things now, because Mon Mothma is actually such a good character that I think fans have seen this now and thought, why didn't they bring Mon Mothma back into the sequel trilogy a little bit? Because the actress that played her in Return of the Jedi was still alive. They could actually, and is still alive at the moment. They could have done more with that. That might have been, but then we didn't get any politics. They didn't want politics. That's the problem with the sequel trilogy, was we didn't find anything out. Mon Mothma was presumably had retired, was sitting on that planet, living life under this new republic, and then, oh shit, what's that big laser beam? Bam, and she was dead. That was it.
On their stupidly rotating. That was one of the dumbest decisions to have the capital rotating. That, oh God, Disney, I hate you sometimes. Sorry. Carry on, Cam.
No, you're right. You're right. So, you know, she is an interesting character because she's kind of, at this point, she's not a leader of this rebellion. She is someone that is using the position she does have to try and help, basically, against the rebellion, against the thing that she's working in. You know, that's the position she's in at the moment. She's not the leader yet, and yet she becomes that going forward. So we're seeing the kind of early stages of her, and with the paranoia, everything, the kind of the way that they, you know, that they have to work to, you know, to avoid, you know, the fact she's got a new driver every day. You know, everybody's spying in these senators all the time. It's like secret police under, you know, in the Nazi regime, or, you know, or the KGB under the Soviets. You know, if you're speaking or doing anything against the state, they're going to be right on top of you. And she understands that, and she understands the dangers involved, but she still wants to help. You know, I thought it was great. In fact, I just, there's one thing I do want to talk about, which is one of the criticisms that I am seeing from some Star Wars fans at the moment. So I wanted to get your opinion on it.
Sure.
When I wrote my review, a lot of people had said they're falling asleep watching it. I don't think this is a show for everybody. And, you know, if we take the demographic of people who like Star Wars, they might not be people who like deep programs, you know, that like this kind of slow burn character-based drama. You may have watched something like Breaking Bad and thought, that was a lot of shit, I don't like that, but I love Obi-Wan Kenobi because pew pew pew, you know, action. And I don't mean to be like, I'm not trying to sound superior or other people inferior. What I'm getting at is that people do have different tastes, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm
one of those people with different tastes.
Yeah, I mean,
but
right?
not in this situation. Yeah. But we're on the same page here for the most.
So we're kind of in a bit of a love-in with this at the moment, and we're loving this slow character-based. But what I'm getting at is that I don't think everybody in the Star Wars fan base likes it like we do, because for some people it's just too slow. It's not exciting enough for what they think Star Wars should be.
And you know, when it comes to that, I mean, you're right, and I would say that there's probably a good hard line around the prequel appreciation parallel. We'll call that line that. But where people that love the prequel trilogy, I have a feeling they're the ones that aren't as necessarily into this as much. And then of course even younger aren't necessarily going to be, they want pew pew, right?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm not so much talking about people that aren't quite mature enough to because I think
no.
It's not a show for kids, really.
It's not even
it's inappropriate. I just don't think that
I'm not even talking on a maturity level like you're immature. I'm talking in generational taste. I'm talking what appeals to the generations. If you look at the shows like Breaking Bad and dramas, who's the big audience? Yeah, they're massive shows, but think about everyone that we a lot of Gen X, a lot of older millennials, and then a crap ton of boomers watch those types of shows.
And
I'm not saying that Z doesn't, shows, but yeah.
Really, are they, though? This is what you think about it. I guarantee you there's probably more people tuned in to watch Obi-Wan Kenobi than they did the Better Call Saul finale.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I may be completely wrong, so and somebody will put in the comments, shut up because this happened, blah, 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 blah. But that's what I've got in my head, because it's not everyone's cup of tea, whereas Star Wars reaches a bigger demographic.
And I think that you'll find a generational variable in this that plays heavily, and again, that's not, I mean, it is saying one thing. It is, in my opinion, that some younger generations, mostly mine and the Zers, Zoomers, whatever, you guys appreciate much more simplicity, and that's fine. I'm not calling you dumb. I'm not saying that it's less intelligent. I'm saying you appreciate more things more simplistic. And that's fine. I like a little bit of texture to my entertainment, and Andor's delivering that.
Yeah. Just on that point, there was a poll I read recently on Rings of Power, and it was age group of people who think the show is a bit slow. Mm-hmm. And the largest of that age group was the 18 to 35 group that thought it was slow. Outside of that, it was really low. Do you know what I mean? Now that could just have been that there were more people of that age using the platform or whatever. But you look at the overall numbers, that's not what it was showing, because it was a breadth. Because I just don't get that again, that it's too slow. I don't need action to entertain me all the time. Yeah. I need drama.
And again, that comes from part of that like instant gratification that younger people have grown up with. It goes into the entertainment too. Do I dislike it? Yes, I do. I dislike how simplistic people are willing to allow entertainment to be. But I get it. I can see how society's done that. I just wish people would reach for
when we were kids, there was some additional entertainment as well.
Absolutely. I'm a Power Rangers fan. I'm wearing my Power Rangers sweater, but I kind of
we
don't
watch
that
I watched
necessarily.
The A-Team and Knight Rider and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't exactly highbrow.
But at the same time, we watch all the other things that we've discussed, things like The Sopranos. We were comparing that to what we were hoping for in Book of Boba Fett. Yeah, man, it's just it's not boring. It's not boring.
Do you wish
Star Wars needed
Boba
more
Fett
of
this?
Yes, I would have even taken this. Like I said, man, Sopranos, Boba Fett is Tony, done, without banging all the side pieces, you know, like that's fine. But nope. Not what we got.
I mean, I've always said for a long time that when Star Wars gets darker, that's what piques my interest the most. That's why Empire's my favourite, because it's the darkest entry of all the films still.
But it still feels very Star Wars-y.
Even the bits, and even the bits, like, you know, because I always said, as much as I don't like The Last Jedi, there were bits of it I really enjoyed, and it was the darker stuff, like the Force crossovers between Ben and Rey and stuff like that. I liked all of that, you know. But the stuff with Snoke was decent up until it didn't matter anymore. But, you know, the point is, you know, that's kind of almost what I wanted more of from that film, and less of some of the light-hearted stuff that went along with it and the poor action choices, you know, like we were talking about. In this show, we're praising it militaristically, you know, and that's one of the negatives that we had about The Last Jedi, is the military stuff. None of it made any sense, you know.
And we're not talking about. We'll leave it alone. You guys can check out our Cantina Reviews episode on The Last Jedi, where we begged Janet to understand. To understand the folly of his ways, and he just wouldn't. Damn it, Janet.
I wonder if
Anyways,
he finds Andor too slow.
I'm
only kidding, because actually I think Janet would really like Andor. I'm just guessing, because he loves character stuff, and this is all character stuff. But I don't know. I guess I'd need to ask him what he thinks.
Yeah, we'll have to ask him. Anyways, guys, that'll do it for this episode. You can find lots more content on whatever podcast app you may be listening to us on. We are reviewing The Rings of Power on Review of the Rings. That's Cam and I doing that one. Anime-Versal Reviews just finished Classroom of the Elite Season 2, and starting Saturday, Spy Family Core 2. So Part 2 for those of you that don't know what a core is. What are you doing watching anime? Learn. No, I'm joking. It's all good. We got Daily Cup of Genre and Breaking Geek covering everything in entertainment. and Marvel Multiverse Mayhem does the Marvel version of this show. So check all that out on the YouTube channel. It all goes up in video format. If you're watching us, please do hit the subscribe button. Thank you to all 590 subs as of right now. We're starting to do new things. We've got the Anime-Versal Reviews reactions on AVR Squared. We've got genre shot trailer reactions and potentially genre shot movie reviews. So keep subscribed. You might see some video movie reviews, like one person camera talking, that type of thing. And I did our first gaming stream last night. It was a successful test. I played some TF2. I talked some anime. I hope to do it again in the next couple of days. And then of course LRMonline.com. Every day for all entertainment news, needs, opinions, written pieces, Barside Buzz. We look at rumors and leaks and all sorts of good stuff. Written reviews, celebrity interviews. Those also go up on the LRM YouTube channel. So
and my written reviews for this and Rings of Power and House of Dragon are all on there as well. If you want to see what this one fan thought of all the current shows that are out there, the big shows just now, just to jump over there, read them, let me know what you think.
There you go, guys. I guess we will see you next week, and may the force be that
was the worst close ever. Yeah.
It is. It's like my.
I'll say it for you.
The brain signals just kind of get jammed up. I got it. Here we go. May the force be with you.